When you think of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most of us, it's perfection, right? 6 jets just screaming across the sky in these impossible formations. They're a symbol of incredible precision and skill. But is that the whole story? Let's dig a little deeper.
I mean, for decades, they have been the absolute epitome of aerial perfection. The formations are flawless, the maneuvers are just mind-bending. It's a spectacle that really shows you the upper limits of what a human and a machine can do together. We kind of see them as untouchable, flawless.
But that perfect image, it makes you ask a really critical question. In a job that is defined by such extreme, high-stakes risk, is it really always perfect?
Well, the honest answer is no, it's not. Behind all those breathtaking air shows, behind that image of total invincibility, there is a hidden history of accidents. Yeah, the symbols of aerial perfection have crashed, and that's exactly what we're going to explore today.
So, let's get right into it and look at some of the most shocking and notable incidents in the team's long history.
We're going to focus on 4 key incidents. They range from the team's single most tragic day to much more recent crashes. Looking at these helps us really understand the kinds of risks they've been facing for years.
4. That number right there, that's the number of pilots lost in a single day, in a single maneuver. It was the single most devastating moment in the entire history of the Thunderbirds.
So here are the details, and they are just tragic. On January 18, 1982, 4 T-38 Talon jets went down almost at the same time while practicing a formation loop. All 4 pilots were killed. This incident became known as the Diamond Crash, and it is, without a doubt, the darkest day in the squadron's history.
Now let's jump forward to 2003. This time it's during an air show in Idaho. Thunderbird number 6 crashed while trying to pull off a maneuver called a split S. The pilot, Captain Chris Strickland, realized he was way too low to recover. He had a split second to make a decision, and he chose to eject, just 140 feet off the ground. Incredibly, he survived.
Then you have 2016, another incident. And this one happened right after a super public event, the Air Force Academy graduation flyover. They had just passed over the ceremony. And shortly after, one of the F-16s went down. Thankfully, the pilot ejected safely. The only thing lost that day was the aircraft itself.
And the danger is always there, even in what you'd call a routine flight. On April 4th, 2018, another F-16 crashed. This was during a standard training flight over the Nevada Test and Training Range. And this time, tragically, the pilot didn't survive. It's just a stark, heartbreaking reminder that even practice runs carry lethal risks.
Okay, so we've seen what happened. The next really big question is, why? Why do these terrible accidents happen to some of the absolute best, most elite pilots in the world?
Well, if you look at the official reports, they pretty much point to 3 main causes. First, the maneuvers themselves are just inherently dangerous. Second, human error under extreme pressure. And third, sudden mechanical failures. And a lot of the time, it's actually a combination of these things.
So first up, let's just talk about the maneuvers. We are talking about flying multi-million-dollar jets just feet apart from each other, pulling off these high G turns and low-altitude loops. Every single performance is literally designed to push the absolute limits of both the pilot's skill and what the aircraft can physically handle. The margin for error? It's basically 0.
And that razor-thin margin leads us right to the second factor, human error. Now, this isn't about a lack of skill. These pilots are phenomenal. It's about making a split-second miscalculation in one of the most extreme environments imaginable. And this quote says it all. The official report on that 2003 crash we talked about, it said the pilot simply misjudged the altitude he needed to start the maneuver. A simple judgment call with massive consequences.
But, it's not always the pilot. Sometimes the machine itself fails, and that's the third critical reason for these accidents: mechanical failure.
So to really get this, let's look at a real example. Back in that tragic 1982 Diamond crash, a major contributing factor was a jammed stabilizer on the lead jet. So a stabilizer is a control surface on the tail. If that thing gets stuck, the pilot can't control the plane's pitch, up or down. It leads to a catastrophic and usually unrecoverable loss of control. So when you put all of this together, you start to see past the incredible spectacle of the air show. You start to confront the stark, terrifying reality of the risk these pilots face every single time they fly. And this slide, this really shows us the razor's edge they operate on. It's unbelievable. In 2 of these major incidents, the pilots walked away, and the other 2 they didn't.
You're talking about the same job, the same aircraft, but completely different life-or-death outcomes. It's truly a tale of two realities.
Ultimately, these crashes, there's so much more than just statistics in a report. They're these powerful, sobering reminders that the perfection we get to see in the sky is built on pilots accepting a level of risk that is, well, it's almost unimaginable to the rest of us.
And all of this, it leaves us with one last big question. Knowing the danger, knowing the history, knowing the human cost, why does the show go on? Is it for recruiting new pilots? Is it a symbol of national pride? Or is it simply to prove what's possible, right at the very edge of human and machine performance? What does this absolute dedication to perfection, in the face of such profound risk, truly represent?